Dr. Alina Rodriguez had been working late again at the research facility in Nevada. The desert was quiet except for the hum of machines and the distant sound of wind. She was testing some new equipment when something bright flashed across the night sky. At first, she thought it was just a shooting star. But the light was too big and too bright. The flash came down somewhere behind the hills near her lab. Alina grabbed her flashlight and decided to check it out. She had always been curious about everything, which is why she became a scientist in the first place. The walk took about 20 minutes through the sandy desert. The moon was full, so she could see pretty well. When she reached the spot, Alina could not believe her eyes. There was a huge hole in the ground, and in the middle of it was something that looked like no airplane she had ever seen. The object was silver and smooth, about the size of a small house. It had strange patterns on its surface that seemed to glow softly in the moonlight. Alina walked closer, her heart beating fast. She had studied space technology for years, but this was different from anything humans had ever built. The metal looked almost alive, and there were no visible screws or joints anywhere. It was like the whole thing had been made from one piece of material. As she walked around the crashed object, Alina noticed a crack in its side. Warm air was coming out of the opening, and she could see a soft blue light inside. She knew she should probably call someone, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear. She pushed the crack wider and looked inside. The inside was even more amazing than the outside. There were no buttons or switches like in normal aircraft. Instead, there were floating displays showing symbols she did not recognize. Everything glowed with the same soft blue light. The walls were curved and smooth, and the whole place felt warm and comfortable. Then Alina heard a sound. It was like someone breathing, but very quiet. She followed the sound to another part of the ship and found someone lying on what looked like a bed. It was a woman, but she was unlike anyone Alina had ever seen. The woman was incredibly beautiful, but in a way that seemed almost too perfect. Her skin had a slight glow to it, like she was lit from the inside. Her hair was long and silver, and when she opened her eyes, Alina saw they were a deep purple color. She was wearing clothes that looked like they were made from liquid metal. The woman sat up slowly and looked at Alina. She did not seem scared or surprised. Instead, she smiled in a way that was both sad and grateful. When she spoke, her voice was musical, like she was singing instead of talking. "Thank you for finding me," the woman said in perfect English. "I was not sure if anyone would come." Alina was so shocked she could barely speak. "Who are you? What is this place?" "My name is Zara," the woman replied. "And this is my ship. I come from a planet very far from here. We call it Kepler 442b, but you might know it by a different name." Alina's mind was racing. She had heard of Kepler 442b in her astronomy classes. It was a planet that might have life on it, but it was over 1,200 light years away from Earth. That's impossible. No one can travel that far. Zara stood up gracefully. Even though she had just been in what looked like a terrible crash, she moved like a dancer. "For your people, yes, it would be impossible. But my people learned to fold space many years ago. We can travel between stars in days instead of centuries." Alina looked around the ship again. Now that she knew what it was, everything made more sense. The floating displays, the strange materials, the way everything seemed to work without any visible power source. This was technology that was hundreds or maybe thousands of years ahead of anything on Earth. "Why are you here?" Alina asked. Expression became serious. "I did not plan to come here. My ship was damaged during my journey, and I had to make an emergency landing. I was trying to reach a different system when something went wrong with my quantum drive." Alina did not understand all the technical terms, but she could see that Zara was in trouble. "Are you hurt?" "Not badly," Zara said, "but my ship is another story. Crash damaged the main power core. Without it, I cannot leave your planet." Alina felt a mix of excitement and worry. Here was proof that humans were not alone in the universe, but this visitor was stranded on Earth. "Can you fix it?" Zara walked over to one of the floating displays. She touched it gently, and symbols appeared in the air. Alina could not read them, but she could tell they were showing the ship's condition. Many of the symbols were red, which probably meant something was wrong. "The damage is severe," Zara explained. I need materials that do not exist on my home planet. But I have studied your world during my approach, and I believe some of the elements I need can be found here. Lena's scientific mind was already working. What kind of materials? Rare earth elements mostly. Things like neodymium, dysprosium, and terbium. But they must be very pure and processed in a specific way. Elena knew about these elements. They were used in advanced electronics and were hard to get even on Earth. I might be able to help with that. I work with some government contractors who have access to those materials. Zara's eyes lit up with hope. You would help me. A scientist, Elena said. This is the greatest discovery in human history. Of course I'll help. Zara smiled, and Elena noticed that her teeth were perfectly white and straight. Before you decide, you should know what my ship can do. Zara walked to the center of the ship and placed her hands on what looked like a crystal. The crystal began to glow brighter, and suddenly, Elena could feel electricity in the air. Outside the ship, she could see lights turning on all across the research facility. I am using a tiny amount of my ship's remaining power to energize your facility, Zara explained. This is just a small demonstration of what my technology can do. Elena watched in amazement as every light and computer in the facility came on at once. The power was clean and steady, unlike anything she had ever seen. Right. Then, just as quickly, the lights went out and everything returned to normal. That was incredible, Elena whispered. But this is nothing compared to what my people have achieved. Zara said, We have learned to harness the power of stars to heal any disease, to travel between worlds as easily as you travel between cities. If you help me return home, I can share some of this knowledge with your people. Elena realized she was standing at a crossroads. She could call the government and let them handle this, or she could help Zara herself. The choice would change. Not just her life, but possibly the future of all humanity. Okay, Elena said finally. I'll help you fix your ship, but we'll have to be careful. There are people who would not understand what you are. Zara nodded. I understand. My people have dealt with similar situations before. We will work together, and no one else needs to know until we are ready. As Elena looked at Zara and her amazing ship, she felt like she was beginning the greatest adventure of her life. Little did she know that this was just the beginning of a journey that would test everything she believed about science, friendship, and what it meant to be human. The next morning, Elena could barely concentrate on her regular work. She kept thinking about Zara and the incredible ship hidden in the desert. During her lunch break, she drove back to the crash site with some food and water. She wasn't sure if Zara would eat human food, but she wanted to help. When Elena arrived, she found Zara sitting outside the ship, looking up at the sky. The alien woman seemed sad, and Elena noticed that her skin wasn't glowing as brightly as it had the night. Before, are you feeling okay? Elena asked as she approached. Zara turned and smiled, but Elena could see worry in her purple eyes. I am fine, but I need to tell you something important, something I did not share last night. Elena sat down next to her on a large rock. What is it? I am not just a traveler who got lost, Zara began. I am a scientist from my world, and I was carrying something very important when my ship crashed. Zara stood up and walked back into her ship. Elena followed her to a section she hadn't seen before. There was a small chamber with what looked like a glass container inside. The container was filled with a swirling golden liquid that seemed to move on its own. This is the genetic code of my people, Zara explained. Our planet is dying. Star that gives us life is getting weaker, and our world is becoming too cold to live on. My people sent me to find a new home for us. Lena stared at the container. How many people are we talking about? About 50,000, Zara said quietly. We are not like humans. We do not have children very often, so our population is small. But we have lived for thousands of years, and we have learned so much about the universe. Elena felt the weight of what Zara was telling her. You were looking for a new planet when you crashed here. Yes, but there is more, Zara continued. I have been studying your world for months as I traveled here. Earth is not suitable for my people to live on permanently. Your gravity is too strong and your atmosphere is too thick. But there is something else your planet has that could save us. What's that? Zara touched the glass container gently. Your son. It is the perfect type of star for our technology. If we could build a space station near your sun, we could harness its energy and use it to power our ships while we search for a permanent home." Elena's mind was racing. "And you want permission from Earth to do this?" "Not just permission," Zara said. "Partnership. My people have technology that could help humans in ways you cannot imagine. We could share our knowledge of medicine, energy, and space travel. In exchange, you would allow us to build our station and help us find a new world." Lena walked around the chamber, thinking hard. This is huge. This isn't just about fixing your ship anymore. You're talking about first contact between two species. Yes. Zara nodded. "But first, I need to get home to tell my people what I've learned, and I only have 30 of your days to do it." 30 days? Why? Zara looked at her ship's displays. More symbols had turned red since the night before. "My ship's life support systems are failing. The crash damaged more than just the drive core. Every day I stay here, my ship loses more power. After 30 days, I will not have enough energy left to make the journey home." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. "What happens if you can't get back?" "Then my people will assume I am dead," Zara said. "They will not know about Earth or the possibility of partnership. They will continue searching on their own, and eventually, they will all die when our planet becomes too cold." Alina sat down heavily. The responsibility was overwhelming. "What do you need me to do?" Zara pulled up a new display showing a list of materials and equipment. "The quantum drive core needs to be completely rebuilt. I need several rare elements, but they must be processed in a very specific way. I also need access to a powerful energy source to test the repairs." Alina studied the list. Most of the materials were things she had heard of, but getting them would be difficult. These are controlled substances. The government keeps track of who buys them and why. "I know," Zara said. "That is why I need your help. You work with government contractors. You have security clearance. You can get these materials without raising suspicion." Lena stood up and paced around the chamber. "This is risky. If anyone finds out what I'm doing, I could go to prison. Oh. And if they find you, they would probably want to study me like a laboratory animal." Zara finished. "I understand the risk you would be taking. That is why I want to offer you something." In return, Zara led Alina to another part of the ship. This section was filled with what looked like books, but they were made of the same glowing material as the ship's walls. When Zara touched one, images appeared in the air, showing incredible things. Alina saw cities that floated in the sky, powered by clean energy that came from the stars themselves. She saw machines that could heal any injury in minutes. She saw spaceships that could travel between galaxies like cars driving between cities. "This is just a small part of what my people know," Zara explained. "If you help me get home, I will. Make sure you receive all of this knowledge. Your people could solve every energy problem, cure every disease, and travel to the stars." Alina watched the images with wonder. "My people believe that knowledge should be shared," Zara said. "We have learned so much because other species helped us long ago. It is time for us to help others." Alina thought about what this could mean for humanity. No more wars over oil or resources. No more people dying from diseases that could be cured. No more wondering if humans were alone in the universe. But she also thought about the risks. If something went wrong, if they were caught, it would all be over. Not just for her, but for both their species. "How do I know I can trust you?" Alina asked. Zara smiled and placed her hand on Elena's shoulder. Her touch was warm and comforting. "Because I am trusting you with the lives of my entire people. If you betray me, my species dies. If I betray you, I lose my only chance to save them." Alina looked into Zara's purple eyes and saw honesty there. She also saw desperation and hope. This alien woman was willing to risk everything to save her people, and she was asking Alina to risk everything to help her. "Okay," Alina said. "Finally, I'll help you. But we need to be smart about this. Can't just walk into a government facility and ask for these materials. We need a plan." Zara's face lit up with relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Alina. You are saving more lives than you know." Alina looked at the list of materials again. "Have some contacts at different facilities? One can probably get most of these things, but it will take time." and I'll need to be careful not to order too much from any one place. How long do you think it will take? Zara asked. Alina did some quick calculations in her head. Maybe 2 weeks, if everything goes smoothly. But we need to start right away. Over the next hour, Alina and Zara worked together to create a plan. Alina would use her government connections to slowly acquire the materials they needed. Zara would work on preparing the ship for the repairs and figuring out exactly what needed to be done. As Alina prepared to leave, Zara handed her a small device that looked like a crystal. This will let us communicate without using your telephone systems. Just touch it and think about what you want to say. Alina took the device and was surprised by how warm it felt. This is incredible technology. It is just the beginning, Zara said. When I return to my people, this will be the start of a new age for both our species. Alina drove back to the research facility with her mind full of plans and possibilities. She had just agreed to help an alien fix her spaceship, and in return, she might be about to change the course of human history. But first, she had to figure out how to get several pounds of rare earth elements without anyone asking too many questions. The real work was just beginning. 2 weeks had passed since Alina began her secret mission to help Zara. Every day felt like walking on thin ice. She had managed to get most of the materials they needed, but it was getting harder to hide what she was doing. Elena's colleague, Dr. Chen, had started asking questions. He worked in the lab next to hers and had noticed that she was staying late every night and coming in early every morning. Worse, he had seen her loading equipment into her car after hours. Lena, you've been working too hard lately, Dr. Chen said one afternoon as they passed in the hallway. What's this big project you're working on? Lena's heart skipped a beat. Oh, it's just some research I'm doing on my own time. Nothing important. Dr. Chen looked at her with concern. You know you can talk to me if something's wrong, right? You've been acting strange for weeks. I'm fine, really, Elena said, trying to sound casual. Just excited about some new ideas I'm testing. But she could tell that Dr. Chen wasn't convinced. She would have to be more careful from now on. That evening, Lena drove out to the crash site with the latest batch of materials. She found Zara working inside the ship, her hands moving quickly over the floating displays. The alien woman looked tired, and Alina noticed that her skin was glowing even less than before. How are you feeling? Lena asked as she brought the materials inside. Not well, Zara admitted. My body is not designed for your planet's environment. The air is too thick, and the gravity is too strong. Each day I stay here, I get weaker, Lena felt a wave of worry. Is there anything I can do to help? Just help me finish the repairs, Zara said with a weak smile. The sooner I can leave, the better. Alina began unpacking the materials she had brought. I got the dysprosium and the terbium, but I'm having trouble with the neodymium. It's heavily controlled, and I can only get small amounts at a time. Zara examined the materials carefully. This is good progress. But we need more neodymium too. Complete the quantum matrix. I know, Alina said. I'm working on it, but it's getting risky. People are starting to notice. As if to prove her point, Elena's phone buzzed with a text message. It was from her supervisor at the research facility, asking her to come in for a meeting the next day to discuss her recent material acquisitors. Alina showed the message to Zara. This is what I was afraid of. They're getting suspicious, Zara looked worried. What will you tell them? I'll think of something, Alina said, but she wasn't sure what. The next morning, Alina sat in her supervisor's office, trying to look calm while her heart pounded. Director Williams was a stern woman who had been running the facility for 20 years. She had a reputation for noticing everything that happened under her watch. Alina, I've been reviewing your recent material orders, Director Williams said, looking at a folder on her desk. You've been requesting some unusual items lately? Rare earth elements, high-grade titanium, quantum processors. What are you working? Annalena had prepared for this question, but her mouth still felt dry. I'm developing a new type of energy storage system. It's for personal research on my own time. I see, Director Williams said slowly. And this research requires materials worth tens of thousands of dollars? Well, I'm using my own budget allocation, Alina said. And I thought it might have applications for our space program. Director Williams leaned back in her chair. Alina, you're one of our best scientists, but I'm concerned about these orders. Some of these materials could be used for weapons development. We need to be careful about security. Elena's blood ran cold. Weapons? I would never... I'm not accusing you of anything, Director Williams interrupted. But I need to know exactly what you're doing. I'm going to have to ask you to bring your research here to the facility, where we can monitor it properly. Elena felt trapped. I'd rather keep working on it at home for now. It's still in the early stages. I'm afraid that's not an option, Director Williams said firmly. Either you bring your work here, or we'll have to suspend your access to controlled materials. Elena left the meeting feeling sick to her stomach. She had maybe a day before they would expect her to show up with her research. She needed to warn Zara right away. That evening, Elena rushed to the crash site. She found Zara lying on the ship's bed, looking weaker than ever. The alien woman's skin was barely glowing at all now. Zara, we have a problem, Elena said urgently. My supervisors are getting suspicious. They want to see my research, and they're going to cut off my access to materials. Zara sat up slowly. How much time do we have? Maybe a day, maybe 2 at most, Elena said. After that, I won't be able to get any more materials. Zara walked over to the ship's displays. Elena could see that many more symbols had turned red. Since her last visit, we are running out of time anyway. My ship's power is failing faster than I expected. What do you mean? Elena asked. The life support systems are breaking down, Zara explained. I originally thought I had 30 days, but the damage is worse than I realized. I probably have less than a week before the ship shuts down completely. Elena felt panic rising in her chest. What about the repairs? How much more do we need? I need about 2 more pounds of neodymium and 1 more quantum processor, Zara said. Without those, the drive core cannot be rebuilt. Elena thought hard. I might be able to get those materials, but I would have to take a huge risk. There's a military storage facility about an hour from here. They keep emergency supplies of rare materials? You mean steal them? Zara asked. Not steal, Elena said. More like borrow without permission. I have security clearance for that facility. I could get in, take what we need, and hopefully get it back before anyone notices. Zara looked troubled. That would put you in great danger. If you were caught, you could go to prison. If I don't try, you'll die, and your people will never know about Earth, Elena said. I can't let that happen. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the risk she was about to take. If she was caught stealing from a military facility, her career would be over. She might go to prison. But every time she thought about backing out, she remembered Zara's weak smile and the 50,000 lives that depended on them. The next evening, Elena drove to the military facility. Hands were shaking as she used her security card too. Get through the gates, she told the guards. She was there to inspect some equipment for her research project. The storage warehouse was huge and dimly lit. Elena found the section where the rare materials were kept. Her heart was pounding so hard, she was sure everyone could hear it. She quickly located the neodymium and quantum processor she needed and put them in her bag, just as she was about to leave. She heard footsteps behind her. She turned around too. See a security guard approaching? Dr. Rodriguez? What are you doing here so late? Lena's mouth went dry. I'm just checking on some materials for my research. I have clearance. The guard looked at her bag suspiciously. What's in there? Just some samples I need to test, Elena said, trying to sound casual. The guard seemed to accept this explanation and walked away. Lena waited until he was gone, then quickly left the facility. She had done it, but barely. When she arrived at the crash site, she found Zara collapsed on the ground outside the ship. The alien woman was barely conscious, and her skin had lost almost all of its glow. Zara. Elena rushed to her side. What happened? The ship's atmosphere system failed, Zara whispered. I cannot breathe inside anymore, but I need to get back. And to finish the repairs, Lena helped Zara to her feet. I got the materials. Everything we need is here. Zara's eyes showed a flicker of hope. Then there is still a chance. But we must work quickly. I do not have much time left. Elena looked at her alien friend, so weak she could barely stand, and made a decision. Then let's finish this. Tonight. They walked back into the ship together, not knowing that this would be their last night to save both their worlds. Elena and Zara worked through the night, racing against time to repair the quantum drive core. Alina had never seen technology like this before. The materials they had gathered were being transformed into something that looked like liquid light, flowing through transparent tubes that ran throughout the ship. "How does this work?" Alina asked as she watched Zara's hands move over the floating controls. "Your people think of energy as electricity or heat," Zara explained, her voice weak but focused. "But there are other forms of energy that exist between the spaces in atoms. The quantum drive uses that energy to fold space itself." Lena tried to understand, but it was like trying to learn a new language in one night. What amazed her most was how Zara could work with such advanced technology, even though she was getting weaker by the hour. Around midnight, they heard the sound of vehicles approaching. Alina looked out through the ship's opening and saw headlights. Coming across the desert, multiple vehicles were heading straight for them. "We need to hide," Alina said urgently. "Someone must have followed me." Zara looked at the ship's displays. "The repairs are only halfway done. If we stop now, we will not have another chance." The vehicles were getting closer. Alina could see they were military trucks. Someone had discovered her theft from the storage facility, and now they were coming to investigate. "There has to be something we can do," Lena said desperately. Zara walked slowly to the center of the ship, where the crystal she had shown Alina before was located. "There is one option, but it is very dangerous." "What is it?" "I can use the ship's emergency power to create a cloaking field around us. It will make us invisible to their sensors and their eyes, but it will drain almost all of my remaining energy." Alina understood what this meant. "You're talking about using your life force to power the ship, aren't you?" Zara nodded. "Now my people can share our energy with our technology when necessary. But if I do this, I may not have enough strength left to complete the repairs." The vehicles were now only a few hundred yards away. Alina could see soldiers getting out of the trucks and setting up equipment. They had brought scanners and other devices to search the area. "Do it," Alina said. "We'll figure out the rest later." Zara placed her hands on the crystal. Immediately, Alina felt the air around them change. It was like being inside a soap bubble. Everything looked slightly different, and sounds from outside became muffled. Through the cloaking field, Lena watched the soldiers search the area where they were hidden. The soldiers walked right past the ship without seeing it. Their scanners showed nothing unusual. After about an hour, they gave up and left. But when Alina turned back to Zara, she was horrified by what she saw. The alien woman had collapsed next to the crystal. Her skin was now completely gray, and she was breathing very slowly. "Zara," Lena rushed to her side. "Are you okay?" Zara opened her eyes with great effort. "I am alive, but very weak." The cloaking field used more energy than I expected. Lena helped Zara sit up. "You shouldn't have done that. You could have died." "If they had found us, we both would have died," Zara said. "And my people would have died too." Alina looked at the ship's displays. More symbols had turned red, and some were now blinking urgently. "How much time do we have left?" "Maybe 6 hours before the ship shuts down completely," Zara said. "But I need to tell you something important. Something I should have told you from the beginning." Alina sat down next to her. "What is it?" "I lied about why I crashed on your planet," Zara said quietly. "It was not an accident." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean?" "My ship was sabotaged by people from my own world. Not everyone in my society agrees with the mission to find new allies. Some believe we should solve our problems alone, without help from other species." Alina stared at her. "You mean there are aliens who don't want to be friends with humans?" "There is a group that believes contact with other species makes us weak," Zara explained. "They damaged my ship before I left, hoping I would die in space and never reach Earth. They do not want your people to join the galactic community." Elena's mind was racing. But why? What's wrong with different species working together? "They are afraid," Zara said. "Afraid of change, afraid of sharing power, afraid of learning that other species might be better than us at some things. It is the same fear that has caused problems throughout history on every world." Alina thought about this. Even on Earth, people sometimes feared those who were different from them. "So if you get back home, you'll have to fight these people." "Not fight," Zara said. "Convince. I have learned something during my time here that I did not expect to learn." "What's that?" Zara looked at Alina with her fading purple eyes. I have learned about friendship. About caring for someone who is different from you. About sacrifice for others. Alina felt tears forming in her eyes. You mean? My people are very advanced, but we lost something important as we evolved. We forgot how to feel deep emotions. How to form personal connections. We became very logical, very efficient, but we lost our hearts. Zara reached out and took Alina's hand. Her touch was barely warm now. But being here with you, seeing how you risked everything to help a stranger from another world, I remembered what it feels like to care about someone. Alina squeezed Zara's hand gently. I care about you too. You're not just some alien. I'm helping. You're my friend. That is what I will tell my people, Zara said. That humans have something we lost. They can teach us to be whole again. Alina wiped her eyes. Will they listen? We'll have to, Zara said. Because without the ability to form connections with others, we will never survive as a species. We need humans as much as humans need us. Alina looked at the ship's displays again. The red symbols were blinking faster now. We need to finish the repairs. Can you do it? Zara struggled to stand up. I will try. But the final step requires someone to manually stabilize the quantum core from inside the drive chamber. It is very dangerous. How dangerous? The person who does it will be exposed to pure quantum energy. For my people, it would be painful, but survivable for a human. ... Zara paused. I do not know what would happen. Alina looked at the drive chamber. It was a small space barely big enough for one person. And someone has to be in there when you start the engine. Yes, Zara said. They have to adjust the energy flow manually as the core activates. It cannot be done remotely. Alina made her decision. Then I'll do it. No, Zara said firmly. It's too dangerous for you. I will do it myself. You can barely stand up. Alina pointed out. And you said yourself that your people can survive the quantum energy better than humans? You need to be at the controls to fly the ship. Zara looked like she wanted to argue, but she knew Alina was right. In her weakened state, she would never be able to both stabilize the core and pilot the ship. There might be another way, Zara said thoughtfully. If I transfer some of my remaining energy to you, it might protect you from the quantum radiation. But it would mean using the last of my strength. Alina looked at her friend. And if you do that, what happens to you? I do not know, Zara admitted. But it is our only chance. Alina took a deep breath. Then let's do it. Both our peoples are counting on us. Zara smiled weakly. You are the bravest person I have ever met, Alina Rodriguez. Human or alien. As they prepared for the final and most dangerous part of the repair, Alina realized that this was about more than just fixing a spaceship. They were building a bridge between two worlds, and that bridge was made of trust, sacrifice, and friendship. The next few hours would determine the fate of both their species. The sun was starting to rise as Alina and Zara prepared for the most dangerous part of their mission. The ship's power was failing so fast that some of the floating displays had already shut down. They had maybe an hour left before everything stopped working forever. Are you ready? Zara asked as she led Alina to the quantum drive chamber. Alina looked at the small space where she would have to go. It was barely big enough for one person, and strange energy was already crackling around the walls. I'm scared, she admitted. Scared is normal, Zara said gently. Shows that you understand the danger. But it also shows how brave you are for doing this anyway. Zara placed her hands on Alina's shoulders. I am going to transfer some of my energy to you now. It will feel strange, but it should protect you from the quantum radiation. Alina felt a warm, tingling sensation spread through her body. It was like drinking hot coffee on a cold morning, but the feeling went all the way down to her bones. When Zara removed her hands, she looked even weaker than before. How do you feel? Zara asked. Alina flexed her fingers and was surprised to see a faint glow around them, similar to Zara's skin. Different. Like I'm more aware of everything around. Me. Good, Zara said. That means the energy transfer worked. Now, when you get inside the chamber, you will see 3 crystals. They need to be adjusted as the core powers up. I'll tell you what to do through this communicator. Zara handed Alina a small device that looked like a glowing earpiece. Just remember, once we start, we cannot stop. Process takes about 10 minutes. If something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong, Alina said firmly. We've come too far to fail now. Alina climbed into the drive chamber and sealed the door behind her. Inside, everything was glowing with soft blue light. She could see the 3 crystals Zara had mentioned. They were beautiful, like diamonds that had been carved from starlight. Can you hear me? Zara's voice came through the communicator. Yes, loud and clear, Alina replied. I'm starting the initialization sequence now. You should see the first crystal beginning to pulse. Alina watched as the crystal on her left started to glow brighter. I see it. Touch the crystal and turn it slowly to your right until the pulsing becomes steady. Alina reached out and touched the crystal. It felt warm and seemed to vibrate under her fingers. As she turned it, the pulsing gradually became a steady glow. Perfect, Zara said. Now we wait for the second crystal to activate. Through the chamber's small window, Alina could see Zara working at the ship's controls. Even from this distance, she could tell that her friend was struggling to stay conscious. Zara, are you okay? Alina asked. I am fine, Zara replied, but Alina could hear the weakness in her voice. The second crystal should activate any moment now. Suddenly, the entire ship shook violently. Alina was thrown against the chamber wall as alarms started blaring throughout the ship. What's happening? Alina called out. The power core is destabilizing, Zara said urgently. We are running out of time faster than I thought. I need you to activate all 3 crystals at once. Alina looked at the 3 crystals. The second one was now pulsing, but the third was still dark. But you said the third one wasn't ready yet. It has to be ready, Zara said. If we wait any longer, the core will collapse completely. Alina took a deep breath and placed one hand on each of the first 2 crystals. Energy flowing through them was incredible. She felt like she was holding on to lightning. Okay, I'm touching the first 2. What about the third? You'll have to use your foot to activate it while holding the other 2 steady. Alina carefully positioned her foot against the third crystal while maintaining her grip on the other. 2. The moment she made contact, energy exploded through the chamber. It was like being inside a thunderstorm made of light. Alina gritted her teeth and held on as waves of quantum energy washed over her. The protection Zara had given her was working, but she could feel it getting weaker with each passing second. I can't hold this much longer, Alina shouted over the noise. Just 30 more seconds, Zara called back. The core is almost stabilized. Those 30 seconds felt like 30 minutes. Alina's entire body was shaking from the effort of controlling the crystals. Just when she thought she couldn't hold on anymore, everything suddenly went quiet. The crystals stopped pulsing and began to glow with a steady, gentle light. The alarm stopped and Alina could hear the ship's engines humming softly. You did it. Zara's voice came through the communicator, filled with joy and relief. The quantum drive is online. Alina collapsed against the chamber wall, exhausted but triumphant. Is it really working? Yes, Zara said. We have full power and all. Systems are operational. I can finally go home. Alina climbed out of the chamber and found Zara at the ship's controls. The alien woman was smiling, but tears were flowing down her cheeks. Why are you crying? Alina asked. We did it. We can save your people now. I am crying because I am happy, Zara said, but also because I have to leave you behind. Alina felt her own eyes filling with tears. In all the excitement of the repairs, she hadn't really thought about what would happen next. Zara would leave Earth and might never come back. Will I ever see you again? Alina asked. Hope so, Zara said. But first, I have to convince my people to trust humans. And I have to deal with those who tried to stop me. Zara walked over to one of the ship's storage areas and pulled out a small device that looked like a tablet made of crystal. This contains copies of all our medical knowledge, our energy technology, and our methods for space travel. It is my gift to you and your people. Alina took the device carefully. It was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse with its own inner light. This is incredible. But what if people don't believe me? What if they think I made it all up? They will believe you, Zara said confidently. because you will be able to show them things that no human has ever seen before. And because you have something my people forgot how to do. What's that? You know how to hope, Zara said. How to believe in possibilities that seem impossible. My people became so logical that we lost our ability to dream. But humans still know how to dream of better futures. Elena looked around the ship one last time. I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss you. And I will miss you too, Zara said. You saved my life and the lives of my entire species. But more than that, you reminded me what it means to have a friend. The ship's engines began to power. Up for takeoff. Elena could feel the energy building around them. I should go, Elena said. You need to leave before someone else comes looking. Wait, Zara said. She touched a control panel, and a small section of the ship's wall became transparent. You can watch from outside. Elena stepped out of the ship and walked a safe distance away. She turned back to watch as Zara's ship began to rise slowly into the air. The quantum drive made no sound at all. The ship just lifted off the ground, like it was floating on invisible water. As the ship rose higher, it began to glow brighter. Elena could see Zara through the transparent section, waving goodbye. Elena waved back, tears streaming down her cheeks. Suddenly, there was a flash of light, and the ship disappeared. Not gradually, but all at once, like someone had turned off. A television. Zara was gone. Elena stood alone in the desert as the sun rose fully above the horizon. In her hands she held a device containing the knowledge of an entire alien civilization. In her heart, she held the memory of an extraordinary friendship. Over the next few months, Elena carefully studied the alien technology and began sharing small pieces of it with trusted colleagues. She started with simple things, new ways to store energy, materials that were stronger than anything humans had ever created. Then, 6 months after Zara left, Elena received a message. She was working late in her lab when the crystal communication device Zara had given her suddenly started glowing. Elena, can you hear me? It was Zara's voice, coming from somewhere far among the stars. Zara. Elena grabbed the device excitedly. Is that really you? Are you safe? I am safe, and I am home, Zara's voice said. And I have good news. My people have agreed to establish peaceful contact with Earth. We want to be your allies. Elena felt her heart soar. Really? They agreed? Date was not easy, Zara admitted. There was much debate. But I told them about human courage, about friendship, about the willingness to sacrifice for others. I told them about you. What happens now? Elena asked. Now we take things slowly, Zara said. We will send small groups to visit Earth and learn about your people. Eventually, we will invite some humans to visit our worlds. It will be the beginning of a new age for both our species. Elena looked up at the stars through her lab window. Somewhere out there, her friend was starting a new chapter in the history of two worlds. Thank you, Zara, Elena whispered. For everything, no? Elena came the reply. Thank you. You taught us that the most advanced technology means nothing without the most basic emotion, love for others. As Elena continued her work, preparing humanity for its future among the stars, she smiled every time she looked up at the night sky. The universe was no longer a cold, empty place. It was full of friends she hadn't met yet,